Pop quiz, hotshot. What are 3 words that make a jaded automotive journalist foam at the mouth? Pre-production mule. And I have been begging Guntherwerks to drive the pre-production mule of their Tornado turbocharged 993 reimagination car for months now, ever since I saw it on the stand at Goodwood. Finally, we have the chance. This thing is gonna be crazy. Carbon body, 295 front tires, 335 rear tires, and a Rothsport Racing air-to-water intercooled 4-liter twin-turbo engine that makes 750 horsepower through a 6-speed manual gearbox. You heard that right, 2,670 pounds, 750 air-cooled horsepower. This is like Group C level craziness, right? And just to look at it, it looks nasty. Now it's unfinished. It's a mule, that's the point. It's like one of those camouflage cars you see running around Detroit. And so we're not going to evaluate the interior because it pretty much has none, right? We're not going to evaluate the quality of the paint because it just has a crappy wrap on it. What we are here to evaluate, both for you, the audience, and Guntherwerks themselves, who have asked for feedback, is how this psycho death machine drives in the canyons. Guys, we wouldn't be able to do what we do here without today's sponsor, Keeps. And when we're talking about Keeps, that means we're talking about hair loss. Look, I am example A. You got 2 choices when your hair starts to go. Commit and embrace the razor, and there's no going back from that. That's a life decision. Or get yourself Keeps. Keeps offers expert care for hair loss from the comfort of your own home without ever having to visit a doctor's office or a pharmacy. Keeps offers both of the FDA-approved hair loss treatment options, as well as a 2-in-1 gel that combines both treatments. According to clinical studies, treatments offered by Keeps are 90% effective at treating hair loss and can increase your hair growth by up to 35%. All treatment plans are personalized to address your unique needs and recommended by a licensed medical provider. Treatment is then delivered right to your door on your schedule. Could be every 3, 6, or 12 months, whatever works best for you. They deliver treatments directly to your door in discreet, non-branded packaging. As part of your Keeps treatment plan, you can message your medical provider or the Keeps care team anytime via their secure messaging portal. You've got the treatments, you've got the shampoos and the conditioners, you've got the thickeners. It's a total package solution. Hair loss stops with Keeps. So for a special offer to get started, go to keeps.com/smokingtire. Hit the link in the video description. That's keeps.com/smokingtire. And thank you to Keeps for sponsoring today's video. Well, if you think it looks nuts, you should see how it drives. Yowza! Your 935 fantasies have come to life, folks. The engine is just insane. 4 liters, air-cooled, twin charge-cooled, twin turbo. That air-to-water intercooler up front with the Venturi tunnel. And it's just a featherweight. You know, the first thing I noticed, because I started by driving it around the city because it was dropped at my office, is actually that in many ways it doesn't drive like it looks. The adjustable JRZ shocks, which you can tune with this phone here in real time, are quite compliant. It looks mean and menacing, but it has a great ride. The clutch is very light. The shifter doesn't require a lot of effort. The first thing I texted the Guntherwerks guys was, how do you hold so much power with such a light clutch? I drove this thing in the city, I drove it in traffic, and it was fine. I'm not saying it would be the ideal daily, but I am saying that it doesn't feel like driving a race car on the street. It feels refined and easy. It's loud, but you could go on a road trip in it or take a drive to work or go get dinner. It would be great. Then you start to go quick and things get out of hand pretty rapidly. 750 horsepower. Oh yeah. 600 pounds of torque. Rear drive, carbon body, doesn't weigh anything. Carbon wheels. Aggro. Those 295 front, 335 rear Contis were sized just for this car. They didn't come in that size before. Oh boy, this thing is bananas. The steering is pretty much just like their naturally aspirated cars. In this case, it's got a slight tendency towards understeer, which is okay. The power band of the engine is really smooth, and that big turbo shove starts low, only about 2,500 RPM, and you get a big rush of air. Huge Brembo brakes, the biggest that'll fit in 18-inch wheels, and with a car this light, plenty. And again, there's that clutch. I'm truly shocked at how light the clutch pedal is, considering it holds so much horsepower. And it's got good feel too. The gearing is really right. 6-speed gearbox is custom for Gunther, based on the 993 Turbo's G50. Very direct shifts. This is pros only. This thing is nasty. And I'm not saying it's hard to drive. I'm just saying life comes at you real fast. And there's not a lot of aids. In fact, there's nothing that's going to save you. Woo! It's insanely fast. Insanely fast. Unbelievable. Okay, and for the practicality, we've got nose lift right on the steering wheel. Boom. Takes a couple seconds to pop up, 3-4 seconds. You can do it while turning the wheel. The turning radius with these carbon fiber front wheels, 295 tires, the turning radius is awful. That's the only thing about this car that makes it suboptimal for city use. Parking's not great, but the compromise has to come from somewhere, right? Nose down. So let's pull out the phone where you've got the controller, and rather than comfort, I've selected sport. Now you can change your pitch, dive, your roll, your damping settings. I'm not smart enough to do that. So I've just gone from comfort to sport. And let's see how that goes. Man, when you hit second, the earth starts spinning the other way. As the tires get some heat into them, that tendency towards understeer reduces a bit. Understeer, obviously, safer than oversteer, particularly in a rear-engine, rear-drive car like this. Third gear is really nice on this road. It makes great use of the power band and how wide it is. Red line is 7,500, but it feels like peak torque is maybe between 3 and 4. It's a nice wide power band. Easy to heel toe, although I have to wear slightly narrower shoes. My New Balance is not the best for this car. I really like how the brakes work. I mean, very progressive pedal. There's a bit of weight on it, but no problem. Heart rate's really going now. You gotta work to keep up with this car. This car doesn't come to you, you gotta go to it. And I love that. Not every car needs to be for everybody. This is for the hardcore. Unreal. Shout out to Gamroth for building this bonkers engine. Although the steering is really on the heavier side, it does turn in like a modern car. It does not turn in at all like an old air-cooled 911. Less steering input for sure. I actually like the sport suspension. The sport suspension setup is quite good on this road. This is like some crazy Pikes Peak shit, dude. I can't believe they're just gonna sell this to people. Very, very rich people who probably know what they're getting into, but still. By the time you get to like 5,000 RPM in fourth, wow, the way it took that big dip, you know, really the most impressive thing, obviously the engine's crazy, the power is beyond, the power to weight is beyond, but for something that looks like this, and for something that has the performance capability that his has, which is at the very, very top of the envelope, the very, very edge. Look, I'm gonna raise the nose here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're up. For something that has performance at this level, I'm actually super impressed at the ride. On the highway, in the city, or on a relatively bumpy canyon road like this, the ride is excellent. And as I nose back down, now I'll just cruise back to home base. You know, you can drive around shifting at 3,000–4,000 RPM, 10% throttle, and it's very behaved. And as Gunther has come along with each successive model, they've managed to spread that comfort to performance spectrum pretty wide. And this actually may be the most comfortable one yet. I mean, there's no interior in here, and racing seats and harnesses, and it's obviously an unfinished Mule. We know what the interior will be. We've been in other Gunther cars. It's going to be that. So forget that. But the balance of ride and handling, acceleration, braking, steering, it's all there. I mean, the ingredients are there. Just got to put it back in the oven for a little bit, and we are good to go. I mean, that's an unbelievable experience that if you're not an experienced driver, I would stay away from this. This is a lot of car, but oh boy, oh boy.
And remember,
Always fight your tickets. Use code TST10 on the Off the Record app available in the Android and iOS store, or go to offtherecord.com/TST.